Hello everyone, I'm your host Todd C. Slater, and you've tuned in to Simply Real Estate right here at the head office of the Simple Investor. We've got a lot going on this week to talk about, but first, let's talk about the news of the week. The news of the week, big news, is the fact that the US Fed is reducing interest rates. You know what? It's been a steady climb for the last several years since the recession, and now they're finally putting the brakes on and putting it in reverse. So what does this mean to everybody? Well, I think what they're saying is the world economy is starting to suffer, and I wonder what kind of person is making all that happen. You got it. Pretty sure the pressure Mr. Trump is putting on China and the rest of the world to cooperate is not going well. And ultimately, in the end, the US Fed sees this as a problem, and it just might mean the economy is going to stall out a little. So what do? They reduce the interest rates, and that's going to keep probably more of the domestic product moving. This means that people with mortgages or people that want to go out and buy, things are going to be a little bit more affordable. Also, what does this mean to the Bank of Canada? Well, you know what? Stephen Pelosi said flat out he is not going to budge with the Canadian interest rates. Not now, at least. So we're going to wait through the fall, but at least we're not moving up. And so for now, interest rates are being more attractive with the banks because they're giving heavy discounts. So this is very important. So the market is going to stay fairly steady right now when we talk about mortgages. That's kind of a wrap for the big news of the week, but now let's talk about the topic of the week. Topic of the week this week is actually a continuation on speculation, and the big topic, of course, is land banking. Do you know what land banking is? Well, I'm going to break it down for you. So what has happened over the several years is that we've seen a lot of people buying up farmland, outer markets, just away from the major cities, knowing that eventually the urban sprawl is going to happen. This is where we start seeing suburbs pop up. So one of the things that people do is, of course, they accumulate as many acres as possible. Now, for many of you, when you're out driving in the country, you might see a big sign saying coming soon development or a proposal to change designation. That's a dead ringer for people to know that, you know what, there's going to be houses coming soon. One of the other things, of course, I always like to look out for are major corporations that are saying coming soon, new head office, or Walmart. When you start seeing those signs going up that a Walmart's going to be built, you can be pretty sure that there's a lot of properties that are going to be built up around them. Now, one of the other things that people are doing for land banking right now is in the core of major cities. What they'll do is they'll buy up some old properties and start putting them together. And this is where we start talking about the banking. So this is on one street, perhaps there's 2 or 3 houses that are being bought up in a row. Then they're waiting out the rest of the owners. Eventually, they'll turn around, tear these down, and either put up some kind of multi-res, perhaps townhomes, perhaps a low-rise or taller building where possible. So land banking is alive and well right now, and don't be surprised if somebody has sold the property beside you and on the other side of you and they're both being rented, chances are they're waiting for you to move. So again, opportunity does arise when we take a look at prices. This is one of the things that I think a lot of people should be aware of, but land banking can take time. In fact, time is the biggest asset that investors will have. In the case of this situation, sometimes investment has to be held anywhere from 10 to 25 years. And I know a lot of people are saying, wow, that's a long time. Well, if we take a look at some of the major metropolitan cities, we can turn around and look at a lot of the parking lots. Now, this was, again, a form of land banking. What people would do is they would have paid parking, and they'd done this for years. It maintained the property taxes. You know, in fact, in some of the major cities, some parking lots sold for $100,000. Today, they are worth $50 to $100 million. Now, the fact is that they also had cash income for very many years. So this is one of the approaches to land banking. Again, it's just not small accumulation. Sometimes it's just waiting it out. If you're thinking more about investment in the near future, again, land banking may be a little bit difficult. So many people have already hopped on that bandwagon. Lots of developers have really pushed out into the outer markets, even an hour to 2 hours away from any major metropolitan city. But it's still an opportunity. Sometimes there is still money to be made on this. And again, for yourselves, you have to decide how long do you want to wait for your investment to have returns. Speaking of investments, make sure you go to www.thesimpleinvestor.com. By the way, you can also register to be getting all our notices as well. Go to our YouTube channel, SciReg1. Don't forget, you can also comment and make sure you sign up, because if you do, that means you'll get notification when our next YouTube video is being released. That's about a wrap for this week, but hey, listen, I would love to hear your comments. Make sure you go to the website. You can make all sorts of comments. Love to get some feedback from you. That's about it for the week. I'm your host, Todd C. Slater. You've been listening to Simply Real Estate right here.